crafty coven. Welcome back to the Bewitching Stitches YouTube channel. My name is Lottie, and today I'm going to be talking to you about something a little bit different for me. Those of you who have been here before will know that usually I focus on knitting, crochet, spinning, that sort of fibre based stuff. But today I'm going to be talking about a woodworking project that I've been working on along with my partner Tom for the last couple of months actually. So I think we started in about November, so I know we finished it just before the end of December, ready to give as a Christmas gift. Obviously those of you who saw my last video, which was just a wrap up of stuff I made in 2021, I did tease a little bit there about what it was, but if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it now. Go on, I'll wait. But yeah, if you have seen that, yeah, you will know I said that it involved a bit of woodworking and a bit of pyrography as well, which is something that's pretty new to me, but I have really enjoyed doing it, and I feel like it's one of those things that you kind of, well, at least for me, I like to learn on the job. Yeah, those of you who watched my last video will know I said there that I like to just dive straight into stuff. I'm not very good at practicing. I would rather just go for it. So yeah, this is, well, obviously you'll be able to tell from the title, this is a project where we ended up making a Dungeon Master's screen. So for those of you who don't know what a Dungeon Master is, it's from a game called Dungeons and Dragons, which is like a role-playing type game. If anybody's watched Stranger Things, they play it in that. But yeah, we've recently started our own D&D, that's Dungeons and Dragons, like group, I guess. And my brother, who is also Tom, very confusing, is our Dungeon Master. So basically he's the one that runs the campaign, so he is in charge of everything that happens. We all role play our own character, and he is in charge of everything that happens. He describes the scene, he's in charge of all the monsters and stuff that we encounter, so yeah, he's basically the boss. So yeah, we've been, sorry if you can hear my cat, by the way, she's very upset that I've closed the door. Now there's a little foot coming around the door, like, should we just, let's open the door for her. Come on then. Is that better? Obviously now the door is open, she probably won't come in because, you know, why would she? Oh, here she is. Hello. Hi. You gonna chirp at everybody? Come and say hello, look. She's like, no, don't touch me. Yeah, so basically our D&D group, we've been running it for a little while now. We've just sort of finished the first part of our campaign, but we've been finding that, well, my brother's been finding that he's currently keeping all of his notes on the laptop, and he's like constantly switching between tabs on his laptop, and he was like, oh, this is so much, like, it's really difficult to like keep track of everything. So we wanted to make him something to kind of help out with that. And we'd seen a couple of like DM screens online. So it's something that we thought he would benefit from. So yeah, we thought, why pay a couple £100 online when we can make one ourselves? So yeah, today is going to be the process of me making DM screen from start to finish. There will be some sort of bits missing from the process, but those I will explain while it's happening, are usually because they're the bits that Tom has done. So obviously I've not filmed those because I wasn't here, but I filmed all the sort of my parts, and yeah, I'll take you through how we made it now. So in the end we ended up making a screen, so the actual like 3-part screen. There's a little system that sits on the top with pegs on it. I'll explain that as I get there, but basically that is when we go into a battle. So if we meet a a bad guy, basically, and we start a sort of fight. We all have to roll for initiative, which basically decides the order in which we get to take turns during that fight. So the pegs, have got each of our characters' names on them, and also a couple of spare pegs for monsters, so that he can put them up on the top piece to be like, oh, this person goes first, and then it's this person, then this person, then this person. So we all kind of know what's going on. And then obviously, because of the extra added bits, we also made a box to go with it, just to store all the pegs and all of the magnets we made as well to go in there. So I'm only going through how I made the screen, but everything else was just pyrography. We bought the magnets online already cut and shaped as they were. I just burnt into them, and the box as well we bought online already as it was. I just burnt into the top of that. And obviously the pegs are just wooden pegs. But yeah, the little stand Tom did build for the pegs, but I'll explain that. It'll make more sense when we come to it. So yeah, sorry, I'm looking over there because the cat's shuffling around and making weird mysterious noises, so if you can hear that, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I will now pass over to me of the past, who I believe is starting off with some sanding. So what happened was Tom bought the wood and he cut it to the right size, and then it was my job just to level it all up and make it look pretty. So I'll pass over to me doing some sanding now. Enjoy. So here I've just clamped the boards together as they will be when they're finished and the screen is closed, just to make sure that the top and the bottom are level. So I'm just sanding them level to begin with. And then once I finish that, I'm just taking each piece individually, sanding it to make sure it's all tidy, and then just rounding off the edges ever so slightly, just so that there's no sort of sharp corners or anything like that. You can see me with the pencil there just marking the top and bottom. Once they've been sanded, then all I'm doing here is just cleaning all of the dust and, all bits like that off that will make it difficult to work with later. Once that's been done, then I am just transferring my design that I have chosen to put on there on the front. So I'm just using carbon copy paper here, and then I am tracing over my design onto the carbon copy paper so that the design comes out on the wood underneath. So I've done this process before with some tables that I made, and it does work out pretty successfully, but you've got to press quite hard. So because it wasn't as strong as I would have liked, I've just then gone over the whole design with pen, just to make sure I can see where the lines are when it comes to the pyrography part later on. So here I am just burning the design onto the back piece of the screen. I chose to do like an open spell book with some text and that, and then some candles and some crystals and some miscellaneous sort of bits like that. So you can see I'm using the sort of pointier nib that came with my pyrography tool, just so I can make sure that it's fairly precise. But I switch between using the pointy tip and the sort of side just to get a straight line. Again, this is just me doing that from a different angle. You can see me switching between using the tip and the sort of side piece here. And yeah, it's just a case of going really slowly to begin with and working up to it. Obviously I've sped this up, so I don't think I'm actually this fast. Yeah, it's a learning curve, definitely. But it is, once you get used to it, it's just like drawing, really. You can see here I'm just using the flat edge of the tool just to get like a shading effect. So I decided with this that I wanted to do the shading in dot work, but just I wanted to add some sort of flat shading first, and then I go in on top of that with some dot work later on. The pyrography piece, so you saw that I did some dragons on the two front screens that faced each other, and then like I say, this back piece, it's got the drawing that I designed myself, and then it's got some text that says Dungeon Master on it, top and bottom, and then to give it more dimension, like I say, I just used some dot work just to shade it in and give it a bit more sort of dimension there. So yeah, you can see here's me adding the dot work in just to sort of highlight this is the central spine of the spell book that's open, so just to add some shading in there. once all the designs had been burnt in, Tom finished each piece off with some Danish oil just to bring out the grain of the wood and make it look nice and finished. What I'm doing here then is add in some sort of intricate metal corners onto each piece. These, I've got to say, were so fiddly. You'll see me struggling with these because the nails are absolutely tiny. So I found the easiest way to do this is just to push each nail in with the edge of the hammer first, so it stands up like that, and then go back in and hammer it in. You can see I've had to remove several of my fake nails in order to do this because it was impossible otherwise. These nails are really super tiny, but I think these corners really finished the project off nicely. They gave it that kind of antique-y look, sort of, you know, finish to it. But yeah, the corners just slot on and then you just nail them on afterwards, but they are pretty fiddly, so yeah, you do need to have quite a bit of patience for this. So here you can just see me adding some hinges onto the inside of the screen. I just measured up where they wanted to go and then I've just screwed them in. So that's one set complete, and I'm just going to do the same on the other side. So I'm just lining up the board itself to make sure that it sits right. I've actually got a plank of wood, which you might see me use in a minute, just to line up the board to make sure that it is level so that there's no wonky doors going on. Yeah, so just using a straight piece of wood pushed against the bottom to make sure that that sort of door is on level. And then what I'm doing is putting the hinge upside down to begin with, just to measure the distance that the door needs to be away from the main body. And then what I'm going to do is flip that hinge over and then just screw it in. But what I have done to make life easier is just using a brad awl just to poke some holes where the screws are supposed to go, just to start them off and make things a bit easier for me. I'm using a small ratchet screwdriver, so if it looks like I'm just going backwards and forwards, I am actually screwing, I promise. just look a bit lazy, but I highly recommend these ratchet screwdrivers, they're so much quicker. So yeah, I'm just popping the screws in there. I make sure that they're not all tight to begin with, so you want to just put them in sort of 3/4 of the way in all first, and then go back and tighten them up after when you're happy with the position and everything. So once all the hinges are on, I'm just going to check the fit to make sure that the doors line up. And you can see that they don't. So the bottom here is sort of too close together and they won't close. I mean, I tried. So what I've done is, because the hinges did have some give in them, I've just unscrewed the screws, and you can see Tom's hands there. I'm just getting him to pull the bottom of the door away from the hinge a bit, and then I'm going to retighten them just to give an extra bit of give in the bottom, and you can see that that was pretty much enough. I've just done it on the other side then as well, just to make sure that the doors do close sort of together in the front, and that they're not sort of bashing each other. It is still a tight fit at the end, but I'm still quite happy with that. So once that part is done, I'm just going to stick some magnets on the inside. So this is for my brother to put the paperwork and stuff on there. So I've just measured where I want these magnets to go. And to be honest, a lot of this I've just eyeballed, but you can obviously measure quite comprehensively if you want to. So I've just roughly measured where I want the pieces. These we just bought offline. They are sort of self-adhesive. So all you need to do then is just peel the backing off and stick them down. So once they're all stuck down, there is like a blue protective film that goes over the top that I am just peeling off here. So you can see that they are actually silver and metal underneath, not blue. And then once I finish this, I've got some small circular magnets as well. I'm going to put down the inside of the doors just to give, again, a little bit more space to stick things on with the magnets. So you can see here I've decided with these ones that I wanted to place one magnet at the top of the door and one in the middle. So again, I've just measured out where I want those to go and I'm just sticking those down, pretty much eyeballing where the centre is. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy to do that, but again, you could measure this and be a bit more precise if you wanted to. And again, I'm just peeling off that protective film. So this is the inside of the screen when it's finished. You can see the edging and the hinges and all of those magnets that sit across there. There's plenty of room inside for lots of bits of paper to go up, and I'm really thrilled with how this looks. This then is the outside of the screen, so this is the part that all the players will see. You can see I've got the dragons with the D20 dice on the side panels, and then the main sort of Dungeon Master text and image on the front. These are the little magnets that I decorated. They came in this shape already. I've just decorated them to look like D20 dice. This is the box that we did to go with it. Just says, I am the Keeper of Law, the Weaver of Fates, and the Master of Dungeons, which I thought was a really nice quote to go with it. This is a full set of everything all together in the end, the magnets, the box, the screen, and the peg stand thing. This is the peg stand thing I was explaining earlier. You can see each character's name is burned onto the peg, so it's easy for us to tell who goes in what order. I've also colour-coded them with a little bit of nail polish on the bottom of the peg as well. This leather harness, a friend of the family made for us. He is a leather worker and he is absolutely incredible. He's just made a little sort of couple of straps with a handle so that it can be put in there and carted around. Also, you'll notice the latch on the front we added later. That actually we found in one of my granddad's old toolboxes, so I thought that would be nice to add on for my brother. So I hope you really enjoyed watching me make that DM screen from start to finish. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and needless to say, my brother was absolutely thrilled when he opened it at Christmas. I think he was speechless pretty much. And he's been using it and it's really helpful. Like I said before, he had like all these tabs open, so what he's done is like print some bits now so he can magnet them up on his screen, so that he's got things to refer to without having to like constantly flick between tabs and worry about us, accidentally seeing things we're not supposed to see. Yeah, so it's fab. It's worked out really well. He also uses the box to roll his dice in as well. So yeah, it's all perfect. I highly recommend giving stuff like this a go if you've never done woodworking before. It is, like, nothing we've done here is necessarily difficult or impossible for a beginner, because me and Tom are not experts by any means. We are just people who have an enthusiasm and some tools. I think that pretty much sums me up as a person. Just enthusiastic and has access to tools. But yeah, like, definitely give it a go. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. You learn from your mistakes, as you can see from that part with me trying to put the hinges on, it didn't work out first time, but we fixed it, and in the end it worked out great. So yeah, highly recommend you give projects like this a go. If you really enjoyed seeing this or this type of thing, let me know in the comments. I know it is something a bit different for me. I will probably be back talking about knitting and stuff soon. So obviously, if you're not into this kind of thing, sorry. I'll be back talking fibre soon. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please like this video if you enjoyed watching, and please subscribe to my channel, because I know I've only just started posting videos again, but I really enjoy it, so it's nice to know that you guys enjoy it too. So yeah, yeah, and I will see you again soon. I'm not sure when or what I have planned, but soon. Thank you so much, guys, and much love. Mwah. Bye.